Labor unions are ramping up pressure on the government to finalize negotiations on public sector base pay before 2026. Budget presented to Parliament later in November. The Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, is leading the charge, demanding a minimum 10% increase in base pay to Cusion workers from the rising cost of living. Now, Ghana Medical Association has similar demands, but better pay to address economic challenges. The National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, is also advocating for improved compensation and working conditions with the 2026 budget looming. Labor unions are urging the government to prioritize workers' welfare and reach a mutually beneficial agreement. Speaking on PM Express last night, NAT's President, Reverend Isaac Owusu, said workers expect government to reach an agreement with Labour in their upcoming negotiations before the 2026 budget is finalized and presented to Parliament. And joining me in studio for us to understand better is Isaac Ofieje, lead data analyst with Joy News Research Desk. And he joins me to understand really how this calls right in the right direction, really. What do you think is pushing the unions to really want to ask for this increase?
Well, so the promise from the finance minister was that this time around, he wants the 2026 budget to be read in October. So essentially, if you have anything that you want the ministry or the finance minister or government to consider, this is the best time to bring it across. But the most important thing is to look at the factors. This is the first time we are seeing Labour or some of the Labour unions actually requesting for such a low increment in their base pay. 10% is very, very low compared to the other initial, percentages that they mentioned, somewhere around 60%, 50%. But this time around, they're going for 10% minimum. And we understand that it's simply because of, in terms of numbers, the improved economic indicators where we know inflation has now fallen from 23.1% at the beginning of the year to now 9.4%. The exchange rate situation is a bit better relatively, and if you look at the fuel prices as well. But we need to also ask, when was the last time Labour got an increase in their base pay? Somewhere February, where they enjoyed that 10%. And the promise from the president was that, take this, and when things get better, we will come and then improve it for you. Possibly that's the reason why they are coming at government. But we've looked at the numbers, and the question is, does government have the fiscal muscle to even accommodate such a 10%? And what we are learning is that if you look at the budget projections, if you look at the 2025 budget, it looks like government was already anticipating it. That's why they are hoping to increase the employee compensation budget by some 18%, moving it from the current projection of 4 billion Ghana cedis to about 89 billion Ghana cedis by next year. And subsequently, government is also hoping to increase it by 13% and some 14%, 2027 and 2028. So if you ask me why this is coming at this point in time, it's simply because Labour is aware that government is finalizing preparation for the budget reading, which, according to the finance minister, he was projecting it will be read this month. But we know the normal time.
The normal time usually is November. We're in October yet. We haven't heard anything yet, especially with Parliament not even reconvening, right? Okay, well, thank you so much, Kofi. Well, joining us now is President of NAGRAT, Angel Kabonu. Thank you so much. And also joining us is Philomena Japan, spokesperson for the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. But let's start with you, Angel Kabonu. First of all, do you think that we're quite stabilized as a country? And how realistic and sustainable is this your demand that you're giving to government?
Well, let me say that nobody can call the base pay percentage and the negotiation is started and completed. Rumors that we are hearing indicate that the economy is to a large extent stabilized. Therefore, this year there will be zero base pay increase. That is not acceptable. We have to go into negotiations and negotiate the base pay. Then we will know. And when we are negotiating the base pay, we will give realistic situation in the country in relation to prices of commodities and services, in relation to cost of living, inflation, the fortunes of the city vis-a-vis other currencies, then we can all come and determine what the base pay should be.
You've done this already, and this is what you're going to be entering the negotiations with. You can let me in on what your findings have been so far.
No, it will not be fair to put it on air when these are the ingredients that we are going to take for negotiation.
Okay, but for issues like cedi stabilization, anything that makes the economy okay, this can be public knowledge, right?
Yes, but there are also others. So, for example, cedi stabilization will compare the situation we find at this time vis-a-vis what was pertaining last year around this time. How did that affect increases of price of commodities? Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So it's just not that you stable cedi stability. You look at stability in relation to the price of service in the market.
I hope I still have you. Network is not too clear. Do I still have you, Njikabono?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Well, so I'm also thinking, whilst you're looking at all these variables that you're going to the negotiation table with, how sustainable are these variables that you're going to the negotiation table with? If government starts...
That's what the government should tell us. That they have the one to be able to keep the cedi stable. They have the ability to keep inflation down. They have the ability to stabilize prices. That is the job of government, to tell us and assure us that that's what they are working towards and that they will achieve it.
What really will be the sticking points in this negotiation, especially, I mean, the finance minister hinted earlier that it will be in October. As we know, the culture and the tradition will be that per constitution, it would be in November. If it doesn't happen this October and it reverts to what we have already known, will it change your position at all? Will the negotiation, the variables you're going onto the negotiation table will change at all?
I will not advise the finance minister to read the budget before base pay negotiation. Base pay negotiation should take place before the minister reads budget. So if the minister is talking about October, then he will have to quickly convene organized labor to start negotiating on the base pay. As we speak, they have commenced negotiations on the minimum wage. So immediately they finish minimum wage, they will have to convene organized labor to commence negotiations on base pay.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the news today.
Thank you.
Away from that, the unpaid nurses and midwives, plus teachers who have been working for the last 9 to 13 months without pay will have to wait a bit longer for at least 2 more months before getting paid. That's according to the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Dr. Abdul Rashid Pelpo. A number of the unpaid nurses and teachers group, numbering over 6,000, held a protest picketing the Health and Finance Ministry in demand of immediate payment of all salary arrears owed them. Listen to the leadership as he narrates the situation to Evans on PM Express.
You wake up in the morning with no hope of how you are going to get money to buy food or get money for transportation to work. But we try to, depend on family and friends. And how long are you going to depend on family and friends?
For me, I owe like almost 10,000.
10,000 cedis.
I have colleagues who owe about 21,000, 11,000 and the rest.
Who do you owe? Where are you getting the money from? Where are you borrowing from?
Yes, I'm borrowing from friends and then colleague teachers. That's what we are living on.
How does it affect your work?
Mentally and emotionally, we are not stable because myself, for instance, I wake up in the morning, going to school, going to class hungry. Meanwhile, the child that I'm going to teach is satisfied or has eaten. Like you feel like just sleep. It got to a time my siblings wanted me to come home because they are working, I'm also working. But I call them every day for money and all that. So it affects us mentally, and we are not stable. We are not stable because sometimes when you go to class, if you don't take care, you might vent your anger on the children.
Well, addressing the concerns of the unpaid workers, the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Dr. Abdul Rashid Pelpo, says government is working to resolve the challenge, as he also noted that even the minister is yet to be paid.
There is some level of political decision attached to it, not necessarily because they wanted to pay them, but just to give them the impression that they too are employed. But, you know, we are not complaining. We are looking at the situation where we can satisfy the will of the people who have given us the mandate. And we are working towards ending this problem of unpaid. We acknowledge the fact that young people as they are need to start life and need to be comfortable working for what they have been employed to do. And so we are doing everything to make it possible that we solve this problem maybe before the end of the year.
So again, for Murtala and Eric, your assurance to them is that before the end of the year, they'll be paid?
They will be satisfied.
Okay.
Well, still on unpaid workers, about 300 staff of the Youth Employment Agency say they have had to either rely on taking up menial jobs or depending on their spouses for survival, as their salaries have delayed for about 10 months. According to the group, they are yet to receive any remuneration after being employed in November 2024. At a press conference in Kumasi, convener for the concerned group, Isaac Yao Akoto, said individuals who were permanently employed in November 2024 after serving as contract staff for 2 to 8 years have been at post since December 1, 2024, but have not received any salary payments despite completing the required public service processes, including technical and financial clearances. The agency has yet to pay their salaries, citing an ongoing audit as the reason. Dr. Oseya Okoto is convener for the group and joins me via Zoom. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So, paint a better picture for me. How bad is the situation for you and your colleagues?
Thank you, Emifa. Thank you for this opportunity. Honestly, it's been really bad. We've been dependent on these salaries since 2017 to date. And for 10 close months, it's not been paid. You can imagine the pains and we are going through. So it hasn't been easy. As I mentioned earlier on, we depend on our spouses and other menial jobs to survive. The psyche, the psychological effect alone has not been easy. Imagine somebody you were able to feed your family, pay school fees, and for some close to 10, 11 months, you're unable to afford all these things. The psychological effect, it has been troubling indeed, but we hope something good comes out of it.
Well, you say that you have gone through the processes, technical, financial, every other clearance that you have to go through. It's just the fact that you have not received the payment at all. Whilst going through the processes, have you been engaging the relevant authorities at all?
Yes, please, Emifa. As indicated earlier, we are not just new staff. Let us get this clear. We've been on the agency's payroll, some from 2017, 2018, 2019, whatsoever. So advertisements was placed by the agency calling applicants to apply for various positions in the agency as permanent staff. They did apply. We are told technical clearance was received, which we have that document to that effect. Financial clearance was received. We have document to that effect. An interview by Public Service Commission was done. We have document to that effect. And everything is done. Look, when the things start, when the payment starts seized, we never rush to the media. We have engaged our CEO internally, written several letters, engaged so many stakeholders, engaged a lawyer to write to him, demanding our salaries. We've written to the sector minister, to the chief imam. In fact, as mentioned during the press conference, we never intended to bring the agency's name into disrepute. We wanted to solve this internally. But, well...
Why do you think this is disrepute? Why do you think this is dragging the agency into disrepute?
The agency being in the media for this news is not really good.
Well, the agency has cited an ongoing audit as a reason for the delay. Do you agree?
No, the agency has not. The agency, that we had a meeting with our CEO, and he told us that we should man our various duty posts, and that he will conduct an audit. The audit is done in March this year. It is not an ongoing. It is done this March this year. We wrote to the agency, then they responded through our lawyer that they will need a month more. That is till end of June to get back to us. We didn't hear from them.
The June that we've gone past?
Yes, the June that has gone past, yes. We didn't hear from them. We again wrote a reminder through our legal representatives to date.
Right.
We've not heard anything.
Okay.
It's bizarre, but that is it.
Mr. Akoto, thank you for drawing attention to the situation.